All right, hello and good morning here from the West Coast. We are working on any blocks to sympathy and any depression that anybody might be struggling with. That was the energy exchange for today. The energy that the collective would most benefit from having cleared was depression. And so, again, understandable. We get it. There's lots of things right now in this world that are working against you if you're somebody struggling with depression, whether that be environmental factors, toxic crap we're eating, news we're watching, all sorts of things that may be going on in the tangible world, and then also in the spirit realms, right? In the spirit world, within our hearts and our souls, those things that touch us all so deeply. So we understand exactly and have compassion for anybody who might be struggling with depression right now. And we're going to look at the root of this depression and how we can clear it and pull it up. And then we're also going to look at any blocks or any lack of openness we may have to sympathy. And again, as I said in my energy exchange video, and this is something that my teacher taught us very early on in SRT, is that sympathy really is that thing that we can aim at ourselves. We're also very good at being empathetic, having compassion and grace for others, feeling what others feel, and then coming at them from a space of empathy, like I feel for you, and so I will treat you kindly, I will do these things to help support you. Well, sympathy is this thing that we can then give to ourselves. We can sympathize with ourselves. We can say, wow, I understand and see and feel what you're going through. This makes sense. And then how can we be compassionate and graceful for ourselves? Because we're coming at ourselves with sympathy. So we'll look at that. So first, let's look at the root. Let's go to our chart one. We've already prepped to work again a couple times actually, because this morning I felt a little bit blocked, to be honest. I don't now, but I started out feeling kind of blocked. And that happens sometimes, that happens sometimes. It could just be my own exhaustion, if we're feeling blocked to our spiritual connection, we don't always have to make a big deal out of it. We don't always have to freak out or think there's some big meaning. Sometimes it's just we're tired. So, I want to see that again, Spirit. I'm sorry, I wasn't fully paying attention. So what is the root of this toxic shame? Toxic shame, the root of the depression, at least one of the roots. So let's see, are there more roots of this depression, or is it just toxic shame we want to look at? No, there's more. Okay, so adultery, envy, vengefulness, self-centeredness. This is all stuff that's come up already this week, y'all. Hate of self, stinginess, envy. What are some of the other ones? Adultery, vengefulness, toxic shame. So we're just clearing all of those now. These are the roots. These are the roots. This is, sorry, I have an exercise band hanging up on my lamp. These are the roots. So these are the things that started it, right? So you think about the roots. The root is the first thing to grow out of the seed. Or at least one of the first things to grow out of a seed. Maybe some seeds sprout first. Maybe, okay. But, it's one of the original things that has to grow out of a seed, because if we don't have our roots, we don't have our way of, leaching and getting the nutrients out of the soil. We don't have our stability, that thing that's going to keep us grounded. So, our roots grow quickly. And these roots, the root of your depression, right? So if you see your depression as this stalk, the stalk of the plant, the body of the plant, the stalk of you, the stalk of maybe your beingness right now. If you see your depression as that, what's the root? Well, this is what's telling us is the root. There was a certain point where one of these factors, one of these energies took hold, and then your depression sprouted from that. So right now we're just saying we clear out those roots. So any story, any memory, any incident, any trauma that happened that then, created these energies that became the root of your state of being, and now your state of being is depression, we clear that now. And you can say it for yourself, I clear the root of this depression. Yeah, whatever that may be, whatever the root of your depression may be, we clear it now. You don't have to hold on to it. It doesn't have to belong to you. It doesn't have to be yours. We don't have to identify with it. We don't have to be afraid of pulling it up. Part of what I do in my full-time day job is we do conservation work, and part of that work is going out and pulling out the root of blackberry, pulling out the root of scotch broom so it doesn't grow back, right? Like really getting to the meat of it. So use all of your tools, use all of your psychic tools, use your words, use your visualizations, use your chakras to just be able to pull that stuff out. Okay, I'm done rambling. Wow, that was a lot. All right, so is there any other part of the root that we need to be looking at to clear here? Okay, so how else? Any little, I'm just looking for any of those little stubborn bits of the root. Maybe those energies were the tap root and these are just those little side roots. So there's no separation from spirit. And for sure, that is what has healed me of any depression that I used to suffer with, is just this deep, deep understanding that this is true. There is no separation from spirit. There is no separation between us and life force. There is no separation. We are able to be filled with life force, and that life force is spirit. We are a part of it. It is a part of us. You know, you can be mentally disconnected from that. And yeah, that is when we are at risk of being influenced by those root energies, is when we're feeling disconnected from spirit. When we are feeling connected to spirit, those root energies don't have as much of an opportunity to grow and take hold and influence the stock. I need a brief sip of coffee and also to show you my mug. You see my duck? Yeah, I know I should put it there so then you can actually see it maybe in clear view. All right, so is there more? I'm going to ask a yes or no. So again, this right now is my no, and then this would be my yes. I just showed you that on purpose. So I'm just going to sit still and ask, is there more to this root we need to look at? No, I'm getting a no. So we looked at the root, we pulled out the root. That's great. So now we're going to look at that block we have to sympathy. So what's the block to sympathy? How can we research it, find it, destroy it? Again, we're in our research and destroy vessel. We're in our little research and destroy submarine. We go to chart 11, which is the chart that I was just guided to go to. And we say, what can we do? What's the block and how do we destroy it? Dysfunction of expression. You know, when we don't have connection to source, we don't have connection to spirit, that does create dysfunction of expression. Because we're no longer expressing our spirit. If there's anything going on for us, you know, there's no way for us to express it. And maybe that's why we're feeling depressed, because we're not expressing ourselves. We're not expressing our true self, our true spirit, our true thoughts, our true feelings. And so, yeah, I mean, talk about, I think that probably contributed to my depression growing up, is that I didn't feel comfortable or safe expressing myself. And in any kind of a way, in a creative way, just in conversation, my thoughts, my feelings, my curiosities, my questions about life, my frustrations, my anger, my energy, I didn't feel safe expressing it, so I didn't. And then I became deeply depressed, terribly depressed as a teenager. So if you are somebody right now who's struggling with depression, again, this is just something for you to meditate on. We're going to clear any blocks to your expression. And here's where you get to be a maker of your own life, a manifestor of your own life, and say, have I been denying myself the chance to express myself? And how has that contributed to the depression? Yeah, so we're just calling in awareness and understanding for yourselves right now and what might be going on there. All right, so what else is going on here with this block? Anything else we can do here with this block? Balance positive and negative energy. So if you could say with me right now, I balance the positive and negative energy that is living inside of me. And my gut tells me is that you're out of balance with the negative. We're not going to remove and be able to destroy all negative energy ever, everywhere, in all time, across all dimensions, past, present, future. You're never going to have negative energy again. It's not the point of SRT. The point of SRT is clearing out anything that is influencing us right now so that in this present moment we can respond and react in the best way possible in our highest good. Doesn't mean negative things stop happening to us. You know, that's not the goal. If it is the goal, then, you know, we're barking up the wrong tree. We can't control negative things from happening to us. Now, the better we get at this and the better decisions we start making, the better, you know, our life ends up becoming, but it doesn't fully prevent negativity. But here you can say, you know, I ask to be balanced, my positive and my negative. I ask to be able to reframe life in a positive way, even the negative things that happen, because, you know, perception and framing is very, very important and a key component of having a strong mental health. So any blocks to being able to frame things in a positive way, we clear for the collective now. Okay, is there anything else we can do? So now what percent are we blocked to our sympathy? 0%, beautiful. And so let's get to that openness. So what percent are we open? We're gonna check again, 0%. So now we're gonna look at openness. So what percent, or not what percent, what can we do to look at our lack of openness? And so 6A is our normal energy exchange chart. It's that first one where we find the negative energies. So there's some negative energies that are influencing our ability to be open to sympathy, hate of self. We release everybody from this hate of self. Why are you hating on yourself? What's going on with that? When I ask, why are you hating yourself? What's the first thing that popped into your head? Is it present life stuff? If you really feel like firmly no, like, no, I'm not hating myself in this present moment, then we're just going to ask for any self-hate that is carried forward from any past life, parallel life, other universes, other dimensions be cleared now. Any other realities, any other iterations of ourselves where there is hate of self happening, we're just clearing all of that now. And again, let's look at this from a psychological component. If there is something you're hating yourself for right now, can you release it? And can you just forgive yourself? Can you just forgive yourself and let it go? Do you feel you're worthy of forgiveness? So other energies from this chart that we might need to clear other than hate of self. Yep, we're getting doubt. We're getting excesses, an excess of something. Self-centeredness, this came up this week. Lethargy, lethargy is hugely difficult when we're talking about depression. You know, that's one of the main characters that shows up when we're experiencing depression is that lethargy. And that's a horrible thing to have to contend with when life is still asking things of you. You know, when life is still saying, Reiki just came up, so we're going to be applying Reiki to all of us now, all of our chakras being aligned, harmonized, cleared and released of anything that is mucking up the system, preventing them from spinning and spiraling in the directions and in the capacity, the volume, the speed with which would be our highest good. Yeah, our capacity to handle life gets really, really messed with when we are struggling with lethargy. So thank you, Spirit, for applying that Reiki to everybody. Now, chart 22, our looping chart. Is this looping or is this something else on the chart? This is actually something else on the chart that we want to see. So we're just going to say, Spirit, clear any lack of belief that anyone is struggling with, that they are an important part of Spirit, an important part of the collective. Okay. What else is going on here? Anything else we can do to open us up to sympathizing with ourselves, having sympathy for ourselves, and then thus being able to release ourselves from some of this depression, desire. It's so funny. Desire came up in a clearing last night, and it was a little bit confusing. Like the desire. Can we just fill us all with a desire to have sympathy for ourselves? Maybe that's part of it. It's like maybe just like you just have to desire it. Maybe it's really simple. Maybe you can just say, I desire the ability to sympathize with myself. Again, breathe into that. I desire the ability to sympathize with myself or for myself, to give myself sympathy, grace, understanding, and compassion. I desire compassion and understanding. I'm worthy of compassion and understanding. I'm allowed to want compassion and understanding. Ooh, how about that? I'm allowed to want compassion and understanding. I'm allowed to ask for compassion and understanding from myself and others. Okay, what percent is the collective now open to sympathy? 60%. Let's get that final 40%. What can we do to get that final 40%? Our ego. What's going on in chart 3 with our ego? Yeah, we're down stuck in the collective consciousness when it comes to our depression, when it comes to this state of being. I'm getting that this is not necessarily our own. This is stuff that we are being sucked into because of the exposure we have to things like media, social media, television, the news, you know, systems that we are stuck inside of, the healthcare system, the educational system, the political system. So all of these systems are the things that are influencing us right now. And we're just calling for a clearing of that. Yeah, and I think when our ego is stuck there, it's like we're so stuck as seeing ourselves as human, and we forget that we are spiritual beings that are really beautiful. Even if you don't want to think of yourself as powerful, can you at least think of yourself as beautiful? Can you at least think of yourself as the miracle that you are? You know, the fact, I forget the statistics, but the fact that each one of us exists is like 1 in billions. There's just such magic that exists because you were born. Like, your sheer existence is just mind-blowing, the fact that it happened. So even if you can't accept that you are smart, funny, interesting, worthy, can you at least accept that you are magical? All right. Okay, now what percent are we open to sympathy? Now what percent are we open to sympathy? Good, 100%. So that's awesome. We're going to do 100% of 100% of mop up, calling in our replacement energies for today. What are our replacement energies for today? Self-esteem, go fig. That's it. Self-esteem? No, grace. It's right on the edge. Self-esteem and grace. Well, I wish you self-esteem and grace today. Maybe you're feeling a little bit lighter. Maybe the density has cleared a bit. Maybe the 20 million veils that were in front of your face are now only 3 million veils in front of your face. Maybe you can just see a little bit better. The light is a little bit more accessible. All right, everybody, don't forget you can purchase pendulums on my Etsy shop, thepointedstone.etsy.com. You can purchase dowsing charts. You can connect with me and purchase a clearing. So you can do all of that on my Etsy shop. You can also go to thepointedstone.com and book a one-to-one session with me. We can work on finding blocks to things in your life, clearing out old belief systems, working on patterns, working on any heaviness you may be feeling in your body, anything you're looking to release, obsessive patterns, obsessive thinking. Those are all things that I've seen so much success with SRT. Addictions, attractions, like all these things. So this is stuff we can work on together. This is just an example of what we can do. So I really hope that if this is intriguing you in any way, you consider booking a session. I do Zoom, I do in person for the few of you who may be local, but I do Zoom sessions all the time. And I've had such an amazing life change because of this work, and I would love to be able to offer the same to anybody who feels intrigued or interested, a little bit curious, and willing to let me dive into your subconscious, and let's get the collective together, including spirit, to figure out what might be going on for you, and we can work on clearing it. All right, everybody, I hope you have a fabulous Wednesday, and we will see you next time for another episode of Clearing with Kate.